Hi, Yaakov.
Hey, what's up?
Oh. Yeah, how many hours?
Hey. Hey, Harold.
Yaakov, how many hours differences?
I'm in Israel, so it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm in the LL Lounge, heading to LA.
Okay.
What time is it for you?
It's not at night.
Nice. Okay, good.
What
Fantastic.
time are you there?
Well, it's 11 o'clock here, so 2 hours ahead.
Where are you? Are you in Israel?
I'm in Israel. I'm in the airport, in Ben Gurion, and I'm flying in the lounge at the King David Lounge.
Where you're staying?
I'm in the LL Lounge in Israel. Can you hear me? No?
Where are you going?
To Los Angeles. I'm going to your house.
You coming? How long are you going to be in Los Angeles?
Nah, till Monday. I'm going for Bubby's birthday and to work a little bit, and then I'm leaving Monday night. Monday night. You can take it.
We are on.
Okay.
We go out. Yeah. Okay. We are on Yud Aleph Amud based on the bottom. Ton Rabbanon. Conservation L'Shun. Husband A took a woman under the chuppah. V'yeshla Eidim Shelo Nistra. But there are Eidim that they didn't go into a room together where there's enough time for them to even carry out a marital act. It is like noisy. Let's go outside, okay? 1 second. Let's see. Is that gonna work? Can you hear me, Yaakov?
Yeah, perfect.
Can
Excellent.
you hear us?
Yes, excellent.
Yaakov?
Excellent.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
So the Yeshla Eidim Shlonisra. So the case is they went into chuppah, but there are Eidim that they couldn't have done the act of bia. Or inami nistra of bia. Maybe there were Eidim that they went into a room together, but you've got to be in that room for enough period of time. Other kedei bia. So yet, ein hasheni yachol liton tanas psulim. Let's say that guy dies, and now she marries again. So the second husband can't claim that she was not a basula. It's assumed that she's a ba'ula just because she went into the chuppah. That's the din. We assume that if you went into chuppah, sharei konsa rishona, if the first husband took her under the chuppah, it's assumed that they had relations. Omer Rabbi Zoyser Meres, konsa b'cheskes psula v'nimtzis ba'ula. Let's say a husband thought that he was marrying a basula, the nimtzis ba'ula, and it turns out that she's not. Yesh l'ksuba mana. She still would not. He can't claim mekach ta'us. He can't say, "Oh, I have to buy a diamond, but it's really a zirconian, whatever that thing is." He has to pay her at least a ksuba for a ba'ula. Rav Ashi, I mean, that's not so. Maybe he can deny the whole thing, and it's mekach tos. Shiny hachka sharei knosa rishona. Here the difference is because the first guy took her into the chuppah, but in another case, if he took a woman who he thought was a basula, and turns out that she's a ba'ula, he can say, "I'm not going to pay you anything." So why don't we say if in the case that we talked about, which she gets a mana, why don't we say that maybe she committed adultery after she got kiddushin from the second guy? In the time of Chazal, there was a 6-month separation between when they had kiddushin and when they actually got married. When we get married, we have kiddushin and nisuin all at the same time. So it took time to set up the wedding. They needed time to plan the wedding. So if the nisuin takes place right after kiddushin, she had no time to be mezaneh, with the first husband, under the first husband. Isaac, is it quieter in the room yet? In there? Well, let's go back there because it's noisy.
It's on another table.
Thank you. I left something here. I left a black thing. Yeah, I left the fanny pack. It's a black thing. No. Yeah. This is going to be bad. This is quiet. Thank you.
Okay, tell me exactly where you are. Where in the Gemara?
Besula almana grusha chlutzim anasuin. So someone got married, and after Nasuin, she marries somebody else. Subasa mana, we assume that she had relations. Therefore, she's not going to get 200, which a Basula gets. Vela and Titus Basula. And that second husband can't claim that she wasn't a Basula, right? When they wake up in the morning, go to bed, and they bring the sheet that doesn't show any blood. What does it mean, the Sulam and Anasuin? If you have the Suin, you're a Bula. Must be, we're talking about our case. There are Adim that show that they weren't in a room long enough. We deduced the same thing that we deduced last time, that if a man thinks that his wife is a basula and she's a ba'ula, he still has to pay her ksuba, but he pays a reduced ksuba. No. Perhaps in a case where a husband thinks that she's a basula and she finds she's a ba'ula, he doesn't have to pay anything. It's different here, it's a special case, because they went under the chuppah. We assume that she's treated like a bu'ula. Why aren't we concerned that maybe there was adultery? It's a case like the way we get married. The suing follows right away after kiddushin. There was no opportunity for her to be mizana. She'd have to be a quick operator for that to happen. Here there are Adim that he relied on that she was not mizana. Mishnah. There were two regions in Eretz Yisrael, Yehuda and Golim. In Yehuda, it was assumed that there was hanky-panky going on after Kiddushin.
Like Vegas.
Even though the 6 months, you're not allowed to live with her, the Judean Chassanim, they were suspected of fooling around with practice. So if the Chassan was invited for lunch to the house of his father-in-law, later on when they get married, we assume that they had relations, and he can't claim that she wasn't a basuna. In Yehuda, it was common that they did yichud. Now, Miriktania Oichel, there must have been areas in Judea where they didn't do this, that there were different minhagim in Judea. It wasn't homogeneous. It wasn't that all Judeans did this. In Judah, they did purposely put a chas v'chala together an hour before chuppah, so that they would be comfortable with each other, that they wouldn't be embarrassed. They didn't do that practice in Golan. They would have the two best friends, like grooms. She had a groom, he had a groom. What were they doing there? They would be in charge of looking for the sheet. Was there blood on the sheet? With a goal, so
one from each side.
one from each side to keep each side honest. They had chaperones prior to the marriage. Whoever didn't follow this practice of having chaperones, anything like this, we assume that they had relations. Now, what case? It should be a different terminology. You have to amend the ratio and say kol shenoah. You can't amend it to be opposite of what we have in the Masorah. If they didn't do the practice in Galil, but they did the practice in Judea, they would be assumed that they had relations. He wouldn't be able to claim in best that it wasn't assumed. He wanted to make the emendation. Whoever didn't have those shushbini. Achas amanas Yisrael. Achas amanas Kohani. So this is applicable to a Kohen, a widow of a regular Yisrael, a widow of a Kohen. Subas Mana, when she gets married the next time, well, she's not a basula. She was married, so she only gets paid money, and it makes no difference whether her prior husband was a Kohen or prior husband was Yisrael. Now, why would we think so? Because based in Kohanim, you go even to Kohanim were a commodity. They would demand 400 zuz as a ksuba from their wives. However, the Chachamim didn't agree with the fact that the Kohanim upped the price. 200 and 100. There's no difference for Kohanim. There's another mission that says no. The widow of a Kohen is more valuable. That if she gets married a second time, you have to give her Mosiah. To steer in the mission. On Rav Ashi, there were two different takonos. Actually, initially, they did the sake 400 Jews for a Kohen. So an almana now 400. This is 200 to 100 is already bad enough.
Right.
400 to 100, it made the almana feel cheap. So takinalu masa. So they upped the almana to 200. Even the chaz the kaparshim and I. So who I can get a basulas Yisrael for 200. Why am I going to be stuck with a bu'ula almana for 200? Nobody wanted to marry them. Why should I pay 200 for a used car? I can pay I can get a new car for 200. Adrenaline sayu. So we went back to the old takwa. Now, are you allowed to offer more money in the The din is if you came from a very important family, you could charge higher. Basement. I'll ask you a student. You want to do like the Kohanim, you're going to Bas Yisrael, Bas Kohen Yisrael, so Bas Yisrael, Bas Kohen Yisrael, the Iket Satuna. Bas Yisrael, it implies that you can't do it a regular portion to Yisrael, meaning Yisrael cannot. Or says, no, you can't. And halacha is you can pay more in the ksub. And this was a Lomo boy comer. Not only this, but this also. Lo maboy bas Israel. Not only in the case of Yisrael, we're not raising the stakes. The coin can say to the girl, I'm raising you up. You're raising my family. That the din that you can pay more money for anybody exists. Mishnah. Hanom says the Ish of they get married and he claims that she's out of Basul. And she admits. She says, yes, you gave me Kiddushin, then I was raped. So it's not my fault. This is your bad masa that I'm not a Basul anymore. Nistach means it's like your field got rained out. That's not my problem. He wants to claim that she's damaged goods, that it happened before I gave you Kiddushin. And you held yourself out as a Basul and you're not. And I don't want to pay you anything. Like you bought a diamond and you go back a day later to the jeweler and you say, I got this checked out, it's not a diamond. I want my money back. She's believed. And he cannot not pay her a ksuba. He doesn't have to pay a ksuba 200, but he has to pay her 100. He can't get away by saying zero because she protested or she came up with a statement. We're not going to live based on her testimony. What is she right now? She's a ba'ula. She has to bring us proof. You have to bring us proof that you were a basula when you got married. And since she can't, unless she has, then really he can claim mekachtos. So that's the machlokas Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua here. And now the Gemara is going to bring a more common case that happens every day in court. Itmar. Monali biyadcha. Harold says to Chaim Yankel, you owe me $100. The haloi omer eini yodeya. The Chaim Yankel says, I don't know about that. He doesn't dispute it. He says, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Rav Yehuda Rav Nami Chayiv. The guy has to pay him the $100. Rav Yehuda Potter. Rav Yehuda Chayiv. Bori V'Shema. The guy was claiming he has a certain claim. You owe me $100. The other guy says, I don't know. So he has a doubtful claim. What's the din? Bori V'Shema, Bori Adif. We rely on the Bori. However, Rav Nachman, Rav Yochanan Potter, the basic rule: who has the money right now? Chaim Yankel. You're trying to get $100 out of Chaim Yankel. Who has the money? He does. So we say, Uki mamona b'cheskas mori. Keep the money who has it. Unless you bring proof. Where's the star? We're going to ask you, where's your star that you loaned him $100? You don't have it? You're not going to get the money. We don't care about Bori and Shem. Normally, I buy Rav Yosef. Had Rav Yehuda to Shmuel. This din of Rav Yehuda is Shmuel. That's not. Haisamu Uberis. They find a single girl who's pregnant in the community. The Armila Bezin says to her, Mati, who's the father? Mati Vishaluberse. She says, Miish Ploini. She names the name. And the kohen. And she's saying, I'm carrying a kohen. Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Eliezer, she's believed to say that this is the father. And that the Uber is not a mamzer. And we pass like Rabbi Gamliel. You have long teeth. You, Shmuel, told us that the Allah of Rabbi Gamliel, even in the first case, what's the Rishona? My after Rishona. Even though we had this svara that if Harold claims that Chaim Yankel owes him money, we said keep the money with Chaim Yankel. Rav Gamliel Bori Yadif. Rav Gamliel says, Harold says, I know for sure you owe me $100. The guy says, I don't know. So Rav Gamliel says he has to pay him. Maybe Rav Yehuda, Rav Huda, Damar, Rav Gamliel. Our Mishnah, which had the same claim of, she said, yeah, I'm a Ba'ula, but it happened after I had Kiddushin, and it's your problem. Maybe Rav Yehuda, Damar, Rav Gamliel. Rav Nachman, Rav Yechon, Rav Yeshua, no. Rav Nachman, Ana, Damar, Afilu, Rav Gamliel. Rav Nachman is going to say we hold like Rav Gamliel's. Ad kan like Rav Gamliel Hasam, Eladiku Miku. By this case of the Mishnah, there's a migu. What's the migu?
Could have been a better lie.
She could have said, I wasn't raped. I was riding a bicycle. And I'm not a basula because I fell off the bike and I damaged my eye. That's a lot easier lie. If you're gonna lie than being raped. So since she could have told a better lie, and she didn't, we believe her. But here there's no migu by the case of the money. Maybe Rabbi Gamliel over there. We know the money is in Chaim Yaakov's hand. But what chazaka does the guy have? Harold doesn't have a chazaka for sure. Whether the chazaka is where the money is. And it's logical the way we just divide. The Rav Nachman who do Amar Kramka. The Imkain Kasha Hilchasa Hilchasa. If we don't say it like that, there's going to be a problem between the Maskonis of the Meraisa, the Kaimalon, Hilchasa Rav Nachman Bedine. Throughout Shas, whenever Rav Nachman talks about Isra Vehet with Mammon, we pass to Rav Nachman. Uvahar Mevira Mashma Rav Gamliel against Rav Nachman. And Allah Shema Kedah Shamina and Shema Mina. Rav Nachman also works with Rav Gamliel the way we learned, and then we have no problem by saying Allah is Rav Nachman. Yaakov, have an easy flight. Call us when you arrive. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Much better. Can you hear me now? Thank you.
Yes.
That was good. That was great. When are you teaching tomorrow? You know?
Might be the same time.
Okay.
It's recorded, and they're going to send it out by email.
I usually listen to the recording, but this it happened to be you sent it out. It was great that you were starting in 9 minutes. What?
I said we're going to try to find a quieter place.
Okay, it's okay. Also, where are your keys in your house? In your desk?
The keys are right in front. They're on the Chinese cabinet.
Okay, excellent. Okay, great. Okay, fine. Have a great show. How is it so far? It's good? Yeah,
Wonderful.
Portugal, it's nice? Yeah?
Yeah.
And the food's good?
We had very good food tonight.
It's like California.
It's very warm. It's very warm. Like California.
Well, but Israel's very warm also now. It was like 90s, 100 today in Israel. Hold on, let me see Harold for a second. Let me see Harold.
Harold, he wants to see you.
Oh, hi. Yeah, how are you?
I met your cousin Moshe Korsinski.
Oh, what about him?
I just met him. He came to my show on Shabbos. He introduced himself. He's like, I'm cousins with Yitzi and Harold. And I'm like, I don't know you.
Right.
I have no clue.
Yeah, he said it's my uncle's grandson. What was he doing in Israel?
He
I had an uncle that came from
place.
Russia. I had an uncle that came from Russia in the 70s. So he's the grandson, yeah.
Very nice. A very nice guy. He's on his second marriage, I think. I met the one.
Yeah, second marriage, right.
And he bought a place in Rehavia, and I told him, you bought Racheli bought. Yeah. So he likes my show and everything. So he's considering coming. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
That's good.
Funny.
That's good. Okay, safe travels.
Thank you so much. I'll see you. Bye.
Bye, Yaakov. Have a safe trip. No, I just